1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
These guys will get it in the end because us girls are not going to sit here and just let this keep happening.
Hey guys, I'm James Hake of the Hake Report, and it is Friday, July 19th, 2019, 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 4th hour of the Jesse Lee Peterson Show video streams. Thank you, Jesse, for allowing me to hop on. You can also catch this live on audio by going to jlptalk.com, and it should be playing on the audio stream on jlptalk.com, which is the Jesse Lee Peterson Show webpage. Shout out to D Live. Thank you guys. YouTube, Mixer, and Periscope, the Jesse Lee Peterson channels. I'm on my own channel, Hake's channels, on Sundays, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And my podcasts and write-ups also go up on thehakereport.com/podcast. You can call in live, 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. And I just played for you a clip of a white woman who is attacking a man for having allegedly attacked her when she was a underage girl. And by the way, a quick reminder to myself, and I'm going to talk more about that as I've been promising for days, to talk about this whole Jeffrey Epstein case a little bit. Not the whole thing. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it. Something that I haven't really heard covered in the media. Reminder to myself and to you guys, as of yesterday, I'm facing a challenge not to talk about black people for a week. And this challenge is from a past caller who's called into my show before, who left a YouTube comment suggesting it. And it is White History Month after all. I might as well talk about white people, the good and the bad, the ugly and the everything. But I can talk about other so-called POCs, people of color, just not the blacks. Here's an example of a quote-unquote white man, so-called, and a white woman, to my knowledge. They're not my kind of white. My kind of white, the kind of white that I like anyway, which I like conservative, Christian, decent whites, fair-minded, down-to-earth ones. This guy is a liberal, Jeffrey Epstein, and I disavow both the villain and the victim in this case, this particular victim that I'm about to cover. Evil people are not good at calling out evil, I notice. And I guess that includes, everybody. Most people are evil. I remember there was this Bible story where Jesus was talking about who of you would, if your son asks for a loaf of bread, would give him a rock or a snake or something like that. And he said, you guys being evil know how to give good gifts to your children. How much more your Father knows how to give good gifts to those who are his children. And it was interesting because Jesus was talking to his disciples and he called them evil. Ah, interesting, huh? So his disciples were still evil. They weren't born again yet. They weren't perfect yet, even though he had told them to be perfect. And evil people are really bad at calling out evil. And that's why with this whole hashtag Me Too movement, which I see this as kind of a branch off of, this Epstein thing is a branch off of the Me Too movement. Some parts of the Me Too, they were accurate accusations and some were not. But it's all about attacking men and letting women off for the wrong stuff that they do. And yes, some of these men are guilty. Guilty. White men including, so-called white. But it's unbalanced. They're not good at actually calling out evil because they don't call out all of evil. In the garden, God called out each evil player for their evil. He called out the snake, the serpent. He called out Adam, and he called out Eve, each one for their evil. But that's not happening today with this, either this Epstein case or the Me Too movement in general or anything. It's basically all attacks on whites, men, Christians, and then letting everybody else slide, which is a disservice to everybody else. And then they're mostly false accusations against whites and men and Christians and stuff. But in this case, this looks like some of these accusations are accurate. So here's some background on this Jeffrey Epstein case that some of you have been begging for me to talk about. I don't know why, but everybody knows what's going on. I mean, I don't really know a lot because I'm not that interested in it. But the Miami Herald reports, and this clip that I just played for you at the beginning, I'm going to play some more, is from the Miami Herald, which worked with Mike Cernovich and maybe Alan Dershowitz, another lawyer that used to work with Epstein, but now he's accused, and now he wants some of this stuff to be revealed in order to exonerate himself. But how teen runaway Virginia Roberts, now she's married, has a different last name, but she became one of Jeffrey Epstein's victims, reportedly. This is a video, YouTube video from Miami Herald. Virginia Roberts, and I think it's Jeffrey, was working at Mar-a-Lago, and she was a runaway, apparently. They haven't really focused on that part. Mar-a-Lago, that's Trump's place down in Florida, when she was recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell, which was Epstein's ex-girlfriend woman, to be a masseuse to Palm Beach hedge fund manager Jeffrey Epstein. She was groomed for sex with him and his associates, attorney Alan Dershowitz and Prince Andrew, so she claims. And it may be true, it may not be true. Alan Dershowitz affirms that he is innocent and has been perfect in his sex life, meaning he's only had sex with his wife since he's ever met Jeffrey Epstein. So who knows? But anyways, here's some video clips. I want to play some video clips from this woman who's one of the accusers of Jeffrey Epstein and just show you what she's like, what she's saying. And I have some minor criticisms about and towards her. But here it is, part A. She admits that she helped recruit girls after she was recruited and groomed.
All Jeffrey cared about was go find me more girls. To me, still to this day, it is my biggest shame that I carry around that I will never get rid of. And I'm really, really sad that I brought other girls my age and even younger into a world that they should have never been introduced to.
It's so white and woman, that guilt thing. But I mean, I'm sure that it is a shameful thing to be recruiting. But I don't know about her being willing to pay the price for participating in that. They want to use her as a victim to get to him, but she's a perpetrator. She was a 19-year-old adult before she escaped. Here's this.
At age 19, Robert said that she was sent to Thailand to take a massage course and to pick up a girl for Epstein. Instead, she fell in love and moved to Australia, where she and her husband live with their 3 children.
I escaped. I called Jeffrey to let him know that I was not coming back and I was not bringing the little Thai girl back. And he said, you know what, have a nice life, and hung up the phone.
Crazy. That's nice that she escaped that. Nice that she didn't bring a Thai girl for Epstein. Well, here's another part where she says she was not going to snitch on this guy, which is kind of understandable. She says that she wasn't going to snitch on him. Here's this.
2007, I was pregnant with my middle son, and I get a phone call from Ghislaine one day. Have you talked to anybody? Have you reported us or anything? And I said, no. The next day, Jeffrey calls me, and he asks me the same questions. The next day, I get another phone call. And this time, it's from an FBI agent. Like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah from the FBI. And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. I am not saying a word to you. And about 6 months later, I get a knock at the door, and it's the Australian Federal Police. It was like a 12-page document about Jeffrey Epstein, and I was a victim, and they've identified me as one.
Crazy, huh? So she was just basically in hiding in Australia until she was finally found, because they're hunting down a case for this man. So here's where it gets kind of bad. She says that she will never heal, and I don't like this type of talk, but here it is.
It takes a long time to start the healing process. I mean, I will never heal. There are pieces from me that can never be put back together. It takes so long to get to a point where you're able just to speak about it. I mean, it took me having a daughter and looking at this beautiful, young, innocent baby to say, I want to speak out about it now.
I just don't like that type of thinking. I understand you don't want to snitch on somebody that is that powerful and rich, but that just screamed victimhood and fakeness to me. So here's a longer clip where she says these guys will get it in the end because us girls are not going to sit here and just let this keep happening, even though she was going to let it keep happening. Go for it.
There are girls out there that will speak up, and I don't care if it's 10 years later or 15 years later, whenever you're ready to do it, you do it, and you protect the ones that are younger than us. You protect the ones that we didn't protect before. These guys will get it in the end, because us girls are not going to sit here and just let this keep happening.
See, I just don't like that stuff where they're talking about guys versus girls. And yeah, in this case, apparently these guys allegedly were victimizing these girls, but she was a grown woman and she started participating in it. And what about this other woman, Ghislaine Maxwell? Is she going to pay for the stuff that she did? To me, I just feel that it's a mess, because it represents, although this guy is guilty, they're not just stopping at him. I mean, this guy apparently is guilty. He did, according to the Miami Herald, he was forced to register as a sex offender for life. So he's guilty of something. What he actually did was, allegedly maybe he was convicted. I don't know. It's so confusing. He appealed to underage girls and maybe did it with them for prostitution and sex trafficking, which was supposedly what she said was that he brought girls and young women to an island that he owned and brought rich people over there, or big friends, influential friends, to go have sex with the girls or young women. And basically a prostitution thing and exploiting runaways. She was a runaway. I wonder I would like to know more of her story and his story, how he got to be like that. Because that's nuts. The judge is like calling him unable to control himself. He's 66 years old, still like this. People are not maturing. So she was just going to let it keep happening, by the way, until she heard from the FBI way over in Australia. And even after she heard from the FBI, she wasn't convinced that it's the FBI, understandable. But it was until she heard from the Australian police that she was not going to say anything to anybody. So she was going to let it keep happening. But now she wants to protect the girls that were not protected. Just kind of typical guilt-ridden stuff. I just don't like it. I don't like that it's so one-sided. Nobody's pointing out what women are doing wrong. And men are so under attack. And it's just pathetic. So people are joining in on the attack on men. They're even attacking Trump, trying to link Trump to this. And Trump is not involved in this. But because he had rubbed shoulders with a fellow billionaire, and actually Bill Clinton was more friends with Epstein than Trump. Epstein, to this day, is a liberal, a Democrat donor, what else? A Harvard guy, Harvard donor, and that's how he was linked up with that Alan Dershowitz guy, who was a Harvard law professor emeritus now. So it's just, I don't feel that we're getting the whole story. I am glad that decent men like Mike Cernovich are going after this stuff. It's nice that that seems to be part of his calling, maybe, where he's exposing these people how corrupt and evil and nasty they are. But I just hope that we can bring back men and bring back calling out both sides of the evil, all sides of the evil. The devil, the men where the men go wrong, the women where the women go wrong, and all of that. Because right now it's just an attack on men and whites and Christians, like I said. By the way, Men's History Month t-shirts are available. You've seen me wear one of them in the late. But here we have a new design, more legible, more readable, Men's History Month t-shirts. Those are available through, and Men's History Month is August, the month of August. This will be our second annual Men's History Month. Last year, it was instituted by Jesse just the month after White History Month. It is Men's History Month. You can find these by going to jesseleepeterson.com and look for Jesse Lee Peterson Teespring banner. Click on that, and then you'll find them. So, let me get to some calls, and let me know what you think of my take, because I just hadn't seen anybody address that the way that these women are casting it as endless victimhood. She'll never heal. She'll never recover. How does she even know that? That's like crazy. But she was a runaway. That means she was messed up early on and left vulnerable to the evil world by her parents, I guess. Apparently. Anyways, let me know what you think. You can call 888-775-3773. You're welcome, Skip, because Skip wanted me to cover this. Like, as you know, as you can see, I don't have a lot to say about it. Just not that. It's hard to. It's kind of a gross topic. I'm not that into it. I do notice that all of these people that are evil are calling out pedophiles. Some evil people are actually defending pedophilia, but they're calling it out as though they're so holy, and they're nothing holy. And I noticed that Christians were calling out homosexuality as a special type of sin, different from their own sins. And that hasn't done any good, because homosexuality has only increased, even in their own, worlds, their Christian worlds, and their families and everything else. And so I just see it coming, that there's this self-righteousness about pedophilia. Meanwhile, you're still a sinner yourself. And that's only going to bring more acceptance to it because of the hypocrisy. Because people are evil themselves, pretending that they care about evil. And it's not really caring about evil. It's just an emotional drama thing about children, which you should never victimize children. It's so evil. But you should also become good. That's how you fight evil. Is not by staying evil and pretending that you're self-righteous, attacking evil. So that's just a little side note. Greg, out of Dallas, Texas, first-time caller. How are you?
Doing good. Hake, how you doing?
Fine, thank you. Nice to hear from you.
Good hearing from you. Enjoying the show.
Thank you.
I just kind of wanted to talk about, and you kind of led into it, talking about sin.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times when I listen to JLP, there's a lot of people that go back and forth with him over, it's pornography, sin,
Yeah.
or, he tells them, the sin is the anger or the judgment.
Pornography is a symptom of sin. It's the evidence of sin.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I
Anyway.
actually have something to back that up out of the Bible.
All right.
In Romans 6:12, it says, "Therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its desires, and do not offer any parts of it to sin as weapons for unrighteousness." So I like to look at the original language too. So the Greek word for that word sin, therefore do not let sin reign in your mortal body, is harmatia, and that's actually a noun. It's not a verb.
Wow,
so by being
nice.
a noun, it shows that it's a state of being. It's not actions in itself. And then it even says, don't let that noun ring in your mortal body so that you obey its desires. So the noun has certain desires within itself, and those desires are then the action. So,
Yeah.
action management never fixes the noun. It just changes the different actions.
Yeah. That is a nice point. I've heard that type of phrase somewhere else where Paul, I think, said when he's talking about I don't understand what I do, he realized that it's no longer him who does it, but sin living in him that does it. So isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's nice, man. I appreciate that, Greg.
No problem, hey.
Happy White History Month to you.
Happy White History.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to Men's History Month because we need
I'm definitely
men,
we
big
need
time.
that too because men have lost their way.
Yeah. Cool, man. By the way, do you watch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
I do.
Nice.
I do.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Church with Jesse is live every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 Central, 2 Eastern, 12 Mountain time, Mountain Daylight time. All right, Greg. Anything else?
No, that was it. I just saw that as interesting. With the women victim thing. I mean, sometimes women get stuff done to them or whatever. But from what I've seen, a lot of times it's been a setup where both parties were willing. Maybe a woman went by a famous athlete or a celebrity's house. Yeah. I mean,
especially the adults.
I have daughters, so I don't want my daughter just going to sleep by a celebrity's house, because if she does, you're making yourself open to having sex with a man. I mean, no man inviting women over to sleep over so they could watch Lion King with them. So, I mean, so you're setting yourself open for it. Now, maybe something happened and now you regret going over there, but you went over there for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, man. I appreciate it, Greg. Take care.
All right, thanks.
All right, bye. Nacho, out of Kentucky. Nacho, how are you?
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. Nice to hear from you.
Yeah, nice to be on your show for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that clip you played, I wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
That girl, she's, I guess, two-faced, because she wasn't going to say anything, speak out about it, until she was forced to. Just like when somebody gets caught, with drugs or speeding, and they get in trouble for it, they don't want to admit to it until it's, too late. Then they have to admit to it, and then they want to speak out about it.
Yeah.
Because of the guilt.
It's so unfortunate that
go ahead, I'm sorry.
That it's hard to get somebody to snitch or, because they are partly guilty themselves, because she's evidently full of guilt herself. She feels guilty, and yet she's scared too of this powerful man. But it's unfortunate that well, I mean, she's, in a sense, she is paying for what she did wrong too. But it's a shame that people are granted immunity for the stuff that they do wrong in order to snitch on the other person who did more wrong. But that's the way that the world works.
Yeah, and my thing is not taking up for her or anything, because what she did was disgusting, and she probably did bring in other girls. Not young women, as CNN likes to say. They're girls. It's like, they're kids.
Yeah.
Bringing them in. And CNN wants to call them young women. That's disgusting to me. They're trying to normalize it, in my opinion, which is very disgusting. But at the same time, I could understand, in a sense, why she didn't come forward, because she could have been extremely scared of him, because, I mean, who knows? He could have probably threatened to kill her or something like that. She was scared to speak out until she had protection.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking up for her whatsoever, because that whole situation is messed up.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just very messed up. But, I mean, maybe that could be it. Maybe I could be wrong for calling her two-faced. But from what everybody's seeing, to me, it appears that way.
Yeah. She needs Jesse's counseling. She needs to do the silent prayer, because she's so full of doubt that she'll ever heal. That's That's not a good mindset to be in. And she's a mother of 3, married mother of 3, and she talks just like these liberal Me Too women, which is a shame. It's a shame that the world has brainwashed people like that. And her parents failed her if she was if she was a runaway, set her up to be easily victimized by people like this.
Yeah, and that's a bad situation overall with runaways, especially girls. I would say I could be wrong about that, but it seems like majority of the girls that run away, they end up getting stuck into like prostitution or something like that.
Yeah, their self-worth is tied up in that stuff.
Pimps get a hold of them and do their thing with them, and that's just as disgusting. That happens here in the U.S. all the time too.
Yeah. And it's so out of control too, and these people that virtue signal about it, to use a typical like a word, maybe it's a common phrase. They virtue signal, these liberals, particularly the liberal women in Congress and stuff, and they're attacking Trump and stuff. But they don't care about the human trafficking. If they did, they would close the border. They would stop all this uncontrolled mass immigration. They don't care about it. They'll take the good with the bad as far as the so-called immigrants and so-called refugees, the illegal aliens come in. They do not care about what's right. They're just pretending.
I don't know if you've seen a video going around, but a woman that was working, I guess, in some group or something down by the border where all these illegal immigrants were coming in. They were housing them, made sure they had medicine, food, and all that stuff. And they had a semi-truck full of stuff, and they're offloading it, and Democrat politicians were there. They asked them for help, and they told them, oh, we got another interview in 10 minutes. And their interview didn't actually start until like an hour later.
Yeah.
And then they asked them again, hey, you want to help us offload this stuff? It's for the immigrants that's coming here. And they told them they ain't got time for it. That right there tells you all they're doing is virtue signaling.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would have helped. I mean, Trump, he helped out during the hurricane thing. And, of course, people want to bash him for tossing out, like, paper towels and stuff.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to lighten the mood up and have some fun.
Yep. And people loved it. These people, they're so fake. Like, it reminds me of, I just blanked on what I was going to say. But you're right. These people are, ugh. It's such fake compassion. They're not for what's right. They're just for being messy and pushing their agenda. Attacking whites, attacking men, attacking Christians, and pushing their vision for transforming America. What a mess.
Well, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Speaking about that, they got now people of color, POC.
Right.
To me, that all they did was change it from what people call a racist term of colored person
right.
to person of color. That's all they did.
Yeah.
It's still the same meaning. All they did was just add one word into it. That's all they did. And now they're acting like it's something new and this and that. But now you have ALC. It's like you've heard the term the black card. Well, ALC now has one because she used it on Nancy. So anybody has a slight tan to their skin, I guess now they can all be a person of color. I mean, I have Native American in me. I'm not like Elizabeth Warren. My grandparents are Cherokee, and my great-grandmother was Cherokee. So, yeah, I have Native in me, but I don't have to go around and announcing that all the time. I'm white. That's what I tell people. And also, happy White History Month.
Thank you, man.
Men's Month.
Yeah. This POC thing, this people of color, these women of color, they're all about, it's just pitting everybody else against white people. It's just...
Exactly. It's going too far, in my opinion, it's going too far because, it used to be only, black people could, play the race card, which is the black card. But now you have people like AOC and even some white people that somehow now got their hands on the race card, aka the black card, and now they're allowed to use it. It's like, wait a minute, what happened? Oprah Winfrey take over the black community and say, you get a black card, you get a black card, you get a black card. Everybody gets a black card except the white man.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Nacho. Happy White History Month to you. Looking forward to Men's History Month. By the way, Nacho.
All right, you take care, and happy White History Month.
Thank you. By the way, are you familiar with Church with Jesse Lee Peterson?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, cool. I'll catch you later, man. Take care.
All right, take care.
Bye. Tina, first-time caller out of Tennessee. How are you?
Hey, great. Doing fine.
Right on.
Glad to hear your show for the first time.
Nice. Thank you for tuning in for the first time and calling in. That's cool.
Yes. Well, first I would like to encourage you and also all listeners to remind you of Psalms, the 2nd chapter, where it regards why do the heathen rage and people imagine a vain thing, that the kings of the earth set themselves together and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and his anointed. And if that's not regarding conspiracy in the day and age we live in, it's an amazement to me.
Yeah.
But I called in regard to the current topic and regarding pedophilia and also Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
I in no way approve or think that it's right, to be taking advantage of the poor and those that are at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes on and on and on. But I truly believe this is a psychological operation. And it's not just about the current situation, because pedophilia has gone on since the beginning of time. It dates back, there's been many documentaries to Ted Gunderson and also Nancy Schaefer, who was a congresswoman out of Georgia. But I think that he is being made the scapegoat, and that they're hoping that the connection between Trump and he will be a way to take him down.
Interesting.
And also, if you've not heard of, Robert David Steele, which he is currently holding the position of a commencement individual for the National Tribunal for Natural Justice. And he does an excellent job on presenting evidence and facts regarding child pedophilia and a lot of other things from the UK globally.
Okay. Thank you for the tip.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think you may be right that he's being used as a scapegoat, although it looks like he is guilty of at least some of this stuff. There's a lot more evil people that they're not dealing with. I appreciate it, Tina.
Exactly. And I think it's sheerly, not that he doesn't deserve to be held accountable, but I think surely this is a political operation to defer and defract.
People are definitely using it that way. I don't think, there's a lot of decent people involved in this, at least one, Mike Cernovich. He was involved in the lawsuit to reveal the witness testimony or something like that. But there are some evil people that are using it for evil. They'll use anything for evil. Never let a crisis go to waste, was what Rahm Emanuel, I think, said when he was in the Obama administration. But Tina, happy White History Month to you.
Oh, and same to you, dear.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Men's History Month is next month in August. So be sure to tune in and call in for that as well.
I certainly will, and I appreciate your program, and thank you for taking first-time caller here.
Cool. And make sure you tune in for Church with Jesse Lee Peterson this Sunday. I'm also live on my own channels on Sunday, 9 a.m., different from Jesse Lee Peterson's channels. So.
All right, sounds great, and I appreciate you.
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate you as well. Take care, Tina.
All right.
Bye. Sean, out of Washington. Sean, nice to hear from you again.
Hey, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
All right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to say I was listening to what you're saying, and yeah, I think you're right. I agree with you. I wanted to point out that men and are actually more oppressed in our current society than women.
Yeah.
But it's promoted the other way around.
Yep. It's tricky to see because people are so used to seeing them in power.
A biological fact about that biologically everything is gynocentric. So it
gynocentric meaning woman-centric?
It's woman-centered, right? To protect the woman and for the offspring,
Yeah.
That happens with every species and all life on Earth. So people have a proclivity to create tribal groups that believe the majority narratives and beliefs and create cognitive biases against the male human beings, and unless they practice awareness of that fact. So human beings have a proclivity to become what they claim to oppose unless they practice being aware. So that's what the silent prayer helps with, right? That Jesse teaches us.
Okay, yeah.
You understand? So the more we practice the silent prayer and being paying attention to what God shows us, right? The less we buy into these evil narratives that you're speaking of that create these prejudices and cognitive biases that are actually gynocentric. So I just wanted to ask you what you think about that.
I think that's an intellectual way of explaining it, but I don't think that you're wrong. I was raised conservative and Christian, so-called, and when the world, school, media, all that stuff contradicted that stuff, I knew to kind of take it all with a grain of salt. I was always like disbelieving of the media. I remember in 2007, 2008, whenever the market was crashing or whatever, even that, like, I was like, these people feel like they're scaremongering and trying to make something happen. And I just noticed that the media tries to direct people's opinions and actions and everything else. And so, and same thing with the schools and all that stuff. I just noticed that adults are not very mature. They're pretty corrupt. They're not trustworthy. And so, and I noticed that about myself. I wasn't trustworthy. I was becoming corrupt. And so and then I noticed it too about my family. They were not totally perfect. And it was kind of disillusioning, but I just don't really believe people unless I can tell for myself, for the most part. Sometimes I do get tricked. Pride, emotional, whatever, beta. But I think that's a nice statement about the silent prayer, that it separates you from that mess. But man,
I know Jesse speaks about kind of avoiding, in a way, intellectual, I don't know, epistemologies, so to speak. So, and I agree with that to a certain extent. It's like,
what's epistemologies? I don't know what that means.
Epistemology is our words and symbols. So, like, all our words are languages, right?
Yeah.
And our beliefs are all made up of symbols and our epistemology. So everything you're saying and everything you believe is made up of symbols and epistemologies, right?
I don't know, man. You're losing me.
You use them as tools, right? You're using them as tools in your show right now.
Oh, the words.
Yeah, you're using epistemologies and words as are symbols that you're using to try to portray your narrative and your belief, right?
White people drive me nuts with this stuff.
What's that?
I said white people drive me nuts with this stuff, this intellectual stuff. This is why I really like Jesse. This is why I love the South. I love people that are simple. They seem more honest, straightforward, down to earth. No offense though, man.
Yeah, we can simplify things as much as possible, you know, for sure. We sometimes overcomplicate things.
Most of the time, I think it's a white issue, and I see it increasing among the people that are focused on education. They lose their common sense, and then they're just end up becoming complainers about the world rather than overcomers of the world.
That's part of what the silent prayer intention is about, right?
Yep.
Is about moving away from the epistemologies, moving away from the thoughts, moving away, not paying attention.
Yeah.
And becoming the observer, right? Becoming the witness and the observer of what is being shown by God instead of the other, you know, the opposite,
Satan.
Right?
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I appreciate all of this.
So it's a constant practice for us, you know, for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Bible says pray without ceasing. That means you should never stop praying. And how are you supposed to do that? But Jesse kind of explains it pretty well, and I've heard other people explain it. So, cool, man.
Yeah, I don't quite understand how Jesse thinks he's perfect yet, but I'm trying to understand that. What do you think about that? He believes that.
I wouldn't.
I guess once you're. He believes that once you.
Listen, man. You're trying to understand it. That's not a good thing to do, because either you get it or you don't. Like, I referenced White History Month. It is White History Month. And earlier this month, I talked about a slave-holding preacher, John Whitfield, or Whitefield. I think it's Whitfield, but it's spelled Whitefield. But he told Benjamin Franklin, think what you will about Benjamin Franklin, but who was skeptical of religion and Christianity, I guess. He quoted John 3:3, which said, I think it's Jesus talking to Nicodemus or something. Unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of heaven. So you're not gonna get it, whatever Jesse says, because I think Jesse's born again. I don't think most of the rest of us are. So don't try to figure out that stuff. Let God show it to you. I think that's what Jesse would say.
Yeah.
So don't be trying to figure out about what perfect means. And don't be trying to judge, yes, he is telling the truth, no, he's not. You know what I mean? That's just prideful stuff.
No, I'm not trying to say he is or isn't. I just
I know, but don't even try to figure out what that means.
What you thought about it?
Yeah, I would say I tend to believe what he says because he seems like a believable person. He's genuine. He's always been genuine with me and with other people. And so that type of person speaks with authority, and I tend to believe it. I don't know what it means. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told me that I asked him, when do you know if you've been born again?
Oh, you asked him that?
Yeah.
And what did he say?
He said, you'll just know.
Yep. That's what I've heard him say too. Anyway, Sean, man, I
just keep practicing the silent prayer.
Yeah. Like what it says, you will seek him and you'll find him when you seek him with all your heart. Most of us don't seek God with all our heart. That's why we don't find him. Anyway, Sean,
do you have any recommendations about how to be better at that?
Mm-mm. No, I don't, man.
Okay.
Yeah. But I appreciate your calls.
Hey, I'm just doing my best. Happy White History Month.
Thank you. Take care, man.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks. Bye. Let's see. I want to get to some calls, I want to see if I have time to get to any other thing. I'm going to get to calls first. I have a kind of a funny point to make about this whole gender neutral talk up in Berkeley. I'll try to get to it, but if not, maybe Sunday. George, out of New York, first time caller. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to get through here. This is kind of cool. I've been listening to Jesse's show and listening to your show, and I really enjoy it. I think it's funny. It's kind of I wouldn't say well, maybe it is controversial, but I enjoy it. I think it's great.
Cool.
And so here's my question.
Are you on speakerphone?
No, I got the phone next to my ear. Right?
Okay. All right. Cool. Just an echo.
So my thing is I noticed because I was in Korea for a little over a year. I took a job there teaching English, and I didn't consider myself a political person. But when I went over there, I met other people, other Westerners, particularly young people that were about 19 and 20, coming from Los Angeles, and I met them there. And I never met anybody from the West Coast. I'm a New York guy from the East Coast.
Okay.
And I noticed they were very emotional.
LA people?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they're very emotional, most of them, and they're kind of they didn't like to talk about anything that was what you would consider, and I put in quotations, a negative thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like morality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they had their own whatever morality it was whatever was popular.
Yeah.
And it was really bizarre because this is the first time I ever encountered people that were so. In other words, if you didn't think like they thought, they automatically wrote you off as an idiot or stupid or, you know. And let me give you a very brief example. This is a very, very quick example. So we're in the office, okay? It's a school. We're all teaching English. One of the Korean people that work at the office, they thought it was a joke because they were setting up the Wi-Fi password. The password was going to be Donald Trump. That was the password.
Nice.
The Wi-Fi
All right.
in the office. So he puts it up on the wall, and one of the people from the West Coast, he gets up or she gets up, and it was a guy, and he was actually he was a New Yorker, an older gentleman. We're talking maybe 45, 50. He gets up, he makes a big deal about it. We can't have that password. It's just no, I can't deal with that. And that's the first time I realized, wow, there's some crazy people. I mean, this guy was insane because, I got the joke. I thought it was funny. The Korean thought he didn't understand what was the big deal.
Yeah.
And so it shocked me, and that kind of made me kind of look into, wow, really what was going on in America. I wasn't really into that, but I saw it with my own eyes. I saw the insanity, the hatred. You ask them a straight question, they will give you. They won't. I noticed most, and then I realized, well, maybe that's what they call social justice warriors. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Would you say that? Would you say that's correct?
I would say that's correct for them to be like that, and I think.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Trump has brought out the social justice warrior in a lot of people. A shocking number of people. There's like people that you wouldn't think would be that insane over him are like that. And
can you explain to me why the hatred? Because I don't understand it. I don't understand the hatred. I don't get it.
Okay. Let me see if I can. I don't know. Well, these are educated do-gooders that are helping to educate other people. Educators tend to be liberal. And I think I've heard it said that words to liberals, intellectuals, are worse, more powerful than actions. They're more important than actions. And Trump says words that they're conditioned to feel are ugly. Okay. And, he talks like a normal guy, in other words. Right. And, here's what it is. Here's the best that I can think. They're conditioned to hate whites, even if they're white, especially conservatives. They're conditioned to hate men. Trump is a man, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, that's too manly. Apologize." Like his tweet about this whole go back, go back and fix your own country. That's too manly for them. They're like, "Oh," and they hate Christians too. You know.
Is that?
And so I think it's like that. I think that's what it is. And white men, Christians, men in general, anybody who's manly represents like what's standing in the way of what they want, which is, you know, they're conditioned to believe in feminism, you know, doing away with white people. White people are such a mess, so they think.
Yeah,
and they don't like
because
Christians.
I noticed the they were mostly white. I mean, I'm not white. I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
They were mostly, I would say, actually, all of them are white.
Yep.
But they were so obsessed with race. I wasn't obsessed with it. They're more obsessed with race than me. I don't think about it. To me, it's just about the person. I don't care the color. I don't think about that.
You made a great point about LA people being emotional, and I think I think that affects, honestly, both the conservatives and the liberals out here. And that's why we're emotional. That's why we think the New Yorkers are rude. Because New Yorkers are just blunt. You know, they don't have a lot of time. They just express themselves, whatever, pushy. Yeah. And so, this is like the weak side of evil. And then
is that what it is? Is the weak? Because I've been privileged to. I would say my journey has been over the last 3 years, because I've worked. Before that, I've worked these kind of blue-collar jobs, and I have to tell you, I love the blue-collar people, the people that actually work hard. They actually know what actual labor is like. You know, I work with them, I sweat with them, and then I go to these office jobs, and it's a bunch of liberals, and they feel that they're owed all these things. Mm-hmm. They don't want to work for things, and then they live these privileged lives, and then they say, wow, how terrible the president is and how terrible the country is. It just, to me, is insanity.
And a lot of them feel guilty about their privileged lives and project it onto everybody else who's successful. Yeah.
I don't get it. But maybe you kind of explain it for me. I just don't understand the hatred. I don't get it. And Trump saying, go back to your country. Okay, yeah, all right. I mean, so what's the big deal? I don't get it. I don't get it.
I think, too, it's a white thing, unfortunately. Whites have become very weak. There's some whites who are
thing?
This weakness, this emotionalness, because it's become.
Really, it's a white thing.
Yeah, big time. That's why you see them betraying.
Is it like a guilt? What is it? Like white guilt or something? What is it?
Yeah, false guilt, I would say. In I think not all. There's a lot of strong-willed, bold, brave white men, Trump for one, many other people. Right. But there's a lot of this get along type of mentality in families that they can't help but be nice, and anything that's not nice makes them feel so bad.
Right, and I don't like that, by the way. I mean, have you ever felt white guilt? Love. Have you ever felt that before?
I felt guilt. I felt guilt, but I didn't identify it as white guilt. But I think I have the white condition, like the bad part of it, kind of bad.
Right.
I never really fell for the race thing. You know,
right.
Like
God.
some of my parents might have a little bit more than me, because they grew up amongst whites, but the Mexicans were coming.
Right.
And then they grew up also amongst that huge propaganda called the Civil Rights Movement, where they saw all that stuff, and they believe in, you don't talk about slavery, you don't compare things to slavery or the Holocaust. Like, why not?
Right.
We don't compare Obama to Hitler, whatever.
I like conversation. In other words, I don't like conversation where it's you guys are not actually talking. You're just patting each other on the back and saying what you guys want to hear. That, to me, that's not a conversation. Let's talk about things.
Yeah.
As disturbing as it might be. Whatever. Let's fix it. You know?
This is why the white countries are losing themselves. It's why the white country. It's why the white people in the white countries are surrendering our countries.
So they're surrendering? You really think they're surrendering? Like they're giving up?
Yeah, I mean, look at it. The whites are a majority, and both the conservatives and the liberals are guilty of it.
Right.
And being abused by the minority. Just abuse me. It's a mess.
I don't want white people
perverted.
to feel guilty. I don't want them to feel guilty. There's no reason for that.
Right.
You know?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I don't know how to fix this situation, but I just think I called in today because, as I said, it's very rare, even on the daily, and I live in New York, so, you know, there are some crazy people over here.
Yeah.
But, it's insane over here. But it's amazing how easily people get triggered. Even my own friends, I'm putting in quotations now because they think I'm an idiot because I don't hate this president. I don't understand the hatred.
Right.
You kind of explained it to me. But I still don't understand. I don't understand it. You know, I don't get it. Okay, so he talks a certain way. Okay, yeah, whatever. I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway.
Everything that they're mad about, I love.
You do? You love that?
Everything. No, I'm telling you, everything that they're mad about, what Trump does and says, are things that I love about him.
I think he's. I mean, we got to give it to this. I mean, he's probably the most entertaining president, I think, in the history. So,
yeah.
I think he's the most captivating. It's like the whole world revolves around whatever he says. It's incredible.
I think it's because the truth is Tucker Carlson said in the column that the truth is thrilling, and I think that's why Jesse's show too is so entertaining to people because he just tells the truth, and it's even people that disagree with him can't help but love it.
Yeah,
and same thing with Trump.
But I also think that, you know, people like Jesse, I noticed that people react to something when it's true.
Yeah.
I think that's a universal fact. If they don't react, if somebody accuses me of being the Easter Bunny, you know, I don't really, you know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But when you say something that has truth in it, they're going to flip out. That's kind of the dead giveaway. It's like, oh, yeah, this is true. He hit a nerve, you know?
Yeah.
So I love that. But
anyway, Charles, man, I got to go, but I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Very nice call.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Thank you.
All right. Happy White History Month to you.
Yes, happy White History Month. Take care.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Conrado out of California. Sorry, man, real fast. We're coming toward the end, but I want to hear from you.
Was it me?
Yeah, Conrado.
Oh, hey.
Conrado.
Yeah. Conrado, or you could just say Conrado.
Yeah.
Conrado. No, I was always thought this, like, so you know how you have there's an actual medical condition for transgender people or trans, you know, people who were born, unfortunately, with both body parts.
Oh, that's not trans people. That's like hermaphrodite.
Yeah, like a hermaphrodite.
Yeah, a lot of trans people are not that.
Yeah.
But anyways,
right. Or like, you know, actual people with like, okay, gay people, like, for instance. Let's go there. You know, I have uncles that are gay, and they were gay since the 60s and 70s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and they actually went through that whole struggle of the hatred, the quote unquote bigotry, and all that stuff, and everything else, right? And then you have people who are like, well, I feel gay today, but maybe tomorrow I'll like guys, maybe tomorrow I'll like girls. You know, maybe I don't. You know, you got all these different things.
Yeah.
Like, you would think that there'd be people who are actually gay, like, who are really, like, solely,
stuck,
you know, unfortunately gay.
Yeah.
You know, they would feel like kind of
insulted.
You know, like, yeah, insulted. You know, like, what the hell? Like, what do you mean you feel gay today? Like,
right.
I'm that every day. You know, I deal with the real. You know, I went through it, and then now it's like highly accepted everywhere. It's like all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I wouldn't encourage the guys that are the guys and gals that are really stuck in feeling homosexual. I wouldn't encourage them to be mad at those people because that'll just keep you even more stuck. But there's been a big encouragement to just question everything and be so open-minded, as the song goes, that your brain leaked out. And so that's what the people of today, the kids today are. I say kids, but I mean like Gen Z. Whoever it is that is accepting all this non-binary
stuff. You know, upset or you know, mad or anything like that either. But just maybe you see them speaking out more, like, no, you're not gay.
Some of them are, but they're getting in trouble for it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lesbian tennis player.
Any stories of them, you know?
There's an old-time lesbian tennis player who doesn't like this trans thing. But man, I gotta end it, Conrado. I'm sorry to cut cut you short.
Hey, no, that's all right. So everybody got a job to do.
Happy White History Month to you, man. Take care.
Yeah, man. Happy White History Month to you, too.
All right. KT, Vicky, and the rest of the callers, I'm sorry. I am live 9 a.m. Pacific time Sunday on my channels, The Hake Report. Go to thehakereport.com. And then Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, rebuildingtheman.com/church at 11 a.m. Pacific time. In L.A., come on out if you're in the L.A. area. Vegas or San Diego, anywhere. Everybody comes. All right, take care.